Since this switches out point of views, I'm going to call the top top and the bottom, just to make it easier on myself. Because I could call the first person's point of view the main character and the second person's point of view the male lead. But we're going to go with top bottom. So the top's mom is dying from a snake bite. It's taking years to kill her, but it's still killing her. And they're attacking snakes and capturing snakes to try to find a cure. But the only snake that can truly cure her is a white snake or a pearl. And back when the top was a child, they did find a pearl, but the top was captured and kidnapped, and his father was enforced to give up the pearl to his kidnappers. But a lot of things happened, and the top was able to get hold of the pearl before it was fully handed over to his kidnappers, and he fell off a bridge and almost drowned. And the bottom saved him. The bottom hadn't fully turned into a snake spirit. He was still just a snake, and saved him and put him to shore and took the pearl himself, which gave him the ability to turn into a human, turn into a snake spirit, which the top hates him for it. Absolutely despises the bottom. He doesn't know it is the bottom, but despises the bottom because the bottom stole from him the only thing that could cure his mom. And I'm sitting there going, but he saved your life. He saved your freaking life, dude. Like, he would have been paid anyways if he had been a regular old human that saved your life. The pure pearl was his payment. Full-on payment for saving your butt. Okay? Like, your guards weren't doing that. He saved your life, so you owe him. And the pearl was your payment, so you don't owe him anymore. They get a oracle that a counselor was sent to collect and then bring back to the emperor, the top's father, that states that if they go to a certain area, they will find the cure they've been searching for, specifically either a pearl or the white snake that they're searching for. And the top's father doesn't want him to go, but he's like, I have to go. I have to. It's my mother. I am going to help her. I'm going to go save her. And the father's like, okay, you can go. So there was a scene that kind of annoyed me about the top, is that with him and his squadron or cavalry, they were arriving, but they get stopped. And he is like, oh, I'm not going to wait because this place had, this territory or country, I wasn't sure which one it was, has the cure for my mom. I ain't waiting. So he heads early with his counselor, leaves his best friend and the rest of the squad with the treasures and gifts he's supposed to give to the country and territory for hosting him. And because they're pretending that this is a decoration between the two countries, or, the country and territory, but he leaves them. He leaves the treasures and gifts to arrive the day he's supposed to arrive, to go ahead. He arrives, tells them, oh, my gifts and treasures will arrive a day later with the rest of my squadron. Can you host me a day early? And they have to. And they also tell him that we'll have the banquet a day early. And he's like, you don't have to. We'll have it when the rest of my squadron is here. And the gifts and treasures I brought is here. And they're like, no, we have to host you and prepare the banquet a day ahead. Like, he has no, the audacity of him. He doesn't think that the, territory or country hosting him would have to prepare everything a day early. They're not ready for him, and they have to speed everything up because he didn't have the patience to actually wait the day he was supposed to arrive, forcing them to do everything ahead. And he also doesn't have the gifts for them. Like, the level I needed to strangle him. So, like I said, our bottom, he's a snake spirit. And after a few years of being a snake spirit, he comes across another little snake being attacked and harmed by a human. And he pays the human for the snake and saves the snake's life. And the snake ends up becoming his little sister. He adopts her. He takes her in under his wing. She absolutely adores him as her big brother. Like, they have the cutest and sweetest big brother and little sister relationship. And because they're low on funds, they have to go to the palace that the top is staying at to get a job. And when they hear the shit the top pulled without bringing the treasures, the gifts, arriving earlier, they're like, the audacity of this man. Like, they're thinking exactly the same thing I'm thinking. Like, he is so disrespectful, rude, and has no respect for the other country. Like, I love them. They were hilarious. Their whole attitude to his arriving early was hilarious. So when the top is praying, he gets a little description that tells him that a dragon struggles even against a snake in native hunt. And he's like, what does this even mean? And I'm like, I know what it means. You're going to fall in love with the person that you're supposed to capture and kill. Like, to cure your mother. You don't know what you need from the white snake. You might even need their beating heart. You were literally told that you might need their organs or beating heart to cure your mother. And you're going to fall in love with a person who is supposed to be the cure. Yeah. So the top and bottom, they re-meet in the stables after years of never seeing each other again. And the bottom and top, they don't recognize each other again because the last time the top saw him, he was a snake. And the last time bottom saw the top, he was a mere child drowning. He also thought the child died because he left the child at the shore. They're looking at each other and they're like, oh my God. And the top's amazed by how the bottom was able to, calm his horse, because his horse dislikes anyone that's not him and its caretaker. And the top lies to him saying that he is a horse to take care of. And the bottom believes him. But later, when they're watching, him and his sisters watching the event introducing the top to the rest of the palace, watching the banquet, and the top is supposed to choose a courtesan to spend time with him, be his assistant. He calls out the bottom's name, and that's when the bottom recognizes him and goes, wait, that's him. And his sister's like, who? Because him and his sister were talking about the Moy he met in the stables, and she was teasing him, being like, oh, he didn't ravage you. He didn't have his way with you. Calm down. You're acting like a maiden whose purity was taken. But come on, later you can get him to ravage you. Like, girl was full on teasing him. It was hilarious. But, they're shocked when he calls out to have the bottom as his plaything, his bedroom mate. The reason why he chose the bottom was because the bottom had promised to help him go through the forest and search through the forest at his time at the territory or country, because he knows the forest very well. And since the top's there to hunt down a white snake, he wanted to use the bottom to basically be his hunt guide. And when the bottom finds out the true reason why he was chosen, he is literally horrified. Dude doesn't like to kill or harm other creatures at all. Dude does not like to do it unless it's a necessary, hunting for food. Outside of that, he doesn't like to harm other creatures. He even tries his best to help other creatures. So finding out that he was chosen to help the top hunt other creatures, he's horrified. He also finds out the reason why the top is there was to find a cure for his mother, and he realizes the top was the child he saved all those years, that he thought he died and felt so guilty for stealing the pure pearl from the child and then leaving the child at the shore to die because he assumed the child would have died. And he's like, oh my God, it's that same child. And though he goes, I didn't bite his mother and caused his mother to be sick, but I'm the reason why she never got cured, and full on blames himself, but doesn't tell the top that he is the snake he met all those years ago, which I do not blame him, and do not blame him for not telling, being the fact that he sees all the terrible tools that he plans to use against those snakes. I do not blame the bottom for not saying anything. Honestly, I'd keep my mouth shut as fast as him and get out of there. He does. He really badly wants to get out of the palace. Full on want to run away. But everything keeps stopping him. His feelings for the top, his sister, until the sister finds out the truth. But full on, things are not going his way. He wants to run away, but things are not going the way he wants.